Today, let's talk about what it means to be fishers of men and the role each of us has in sharing the gospel. In Matthew 4:19, Jesus says, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." He said this to Peter, James, and John, who were fishermen by trade. Jesus didn't ask them to give up fishing entirely. Instead, he called them to a higher purpose, to reach people for God's kingdom. What do you think it means to be a fisher of men in our daily lives?
I think it means that, as believers, we're called to reach out to people wherever we are, whether at work, at school, or even in casual conversations. Just like the disciples didn't stop being fishermen, we can share the gospel in the middle of our usual routines. Yes, and it reminds me that we don't have to quit our jobs or move somewhere new to be effective. We can evangelize right where we are, like Peter and Paul did.
That's a great point. In Acts 18:1-3, Paul worked as a tent maker while ministering. His secular job didn't stop him from spreading the gospel. So, being a fisher of men doesn't necessarily mean we have to leave our careers. Instead, it means we can use those everyday moments to share God's love. How might we use our jobs and daily activities as opportunities to fish for men?
We could start by building genuine relationships with people. If they see us as approachable and sincere, they're more likely to listen when we share our faith. I think small conversations matter too. Not every interaction has to be a big, formal presentation. Even in a quick chat, we can bring hope or mention something about God.
Absolutely. The opportunities don't have to be grand. We can even use our interests, like sports or other shared activities, as starting points for meaningful conversations about faith. Romans 10:14 reminds us, "How shall they hear without a preacher?" That's where we come in. Each of us has a role to play in sharing the message. The plan to reach others hasn't changed since Jesus called his disciples. God's strategy has always been to work through people like us. What do you think holds people back from embracing their role in sharing the gospel?
I think sometimes it's fear. People worry about being rejected or not knowing enough. It can feel intimidating. For some, I think it's a lack of confidence. They might feel that they're not qualified or that it's only the job of pastors or evangelists to share the gospel.
Those are valid points. But when Jesus called Peter and the others, they weren't qualified in the traditional sense. They were just willing to follow him. As believers, we're all equipped because God's Spirit is with us, guiding us in these conversations. Isaiah 6:8 captures this heart of willingness, where Isaiah says, "Here am I. Send me." When we have that attitude, God can use us powerfully. Let's also remember our confession, "I am a fisherman. My job is to save souls from darkness to light." How could a mindset like this change the way we approach our everyday interactions?
If we see it as a calling, it feels like part of our purpose, not just something extra to fit in when we have time. I think it would help me be more intentional in my conversations. It's motivating to remember that God can use me to bring others into the light. It's a powerful reminder of our impact.
Exactly. When we have this mindset, we're prepared to take advantage of opportunities as they come, whether they are big or small. Psalm 68:11 says, "The Lord gave the word, great was the company of those that published it." Let's remember that we're part of a large company of believers around the world who are spreading this same message. We don't need a platform, pulpit, or large audience to be effective fishers of men. God calls us to use our unique positions, whether in the office, at home, or out with friends, to share his message of love and hope. Let's commit to being fishers of men right where we are.
Let's each aim to have at least one meaningful conversation this week where we share our faith. It could be as simple as a kind word, an invitation to church, or a prayer for someone. Who's ready to take on this challenge?
Lovely listeners, this is what time will allow us for today. Have a glorious Sunday.